Democrats have been caught in a massive scam. We're just finding out today that Democrats redacted the name of Jeffrey Epstein's victim in the 3 emails that they selectively released out of 23,000 yesterday. They redacted her name in order to connect President Trump to an unknown person. However, we're learning that Virginia Giuffre, who in an interview and a book admitted Donald Trump was never a part of her tragic trafficking story. Now, the White House has finally responded to the 3 cherry-picked emails Democrats released after redacting a Jeffrey Epstein victim's name. Let me show that to you now.
Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us.
Well, we already know why they tried to pull this trick. They were hoping that it would remain redacted, that you and I would never learn that it was Virginia Giuffre. They were hoping and praying that you could just associate Trump with pedophilia behavior and an unknown person for hours at a house. But the reality is, when you dig into those emails, it's talking about Donald Trump kicking Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and asking Ghislaine Maxwell over and over again to knock it off. So they're busted. They are completely trapped by this stupid move where they tried to embarrass the president again. So Democrats redacted the name so Trump would look bad. However, this woman cleared Donald Trump, and so have multiple lawyers. Now, since she took her own life, she isn't here to discuss. And Democrats knew that, and they used someone who had killed themselves as a weapon against Donald Trump. This is just disgusting behavior. But it gets even weirder, right? Now, my friend Congressman Tim Burchett last night tried to hold a vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Guess who voted against it? Every single Democrat. And then what did they do? They went running to the TV to do interviews to badmouth Donald Trump, link his name to the mystery redacted person, and then say that it was the Republicans that were trying to block the Epstein files. Now, Tim Burchett points this out. He then goes off on, really? You're going to use a woman who took her own life after being abused and trafficked? How low can you guys get? Let me show you that clip.
This upcoming bill to release the Epstein files?
Yeah, that's why I just put a bill up. I just tried to move it ahead because what you're seeing right now is what exactly is going to happen, going to continue happening. Everybody's going to pull little piecemeal portions. Sorry about that. I got to animate. I'm sorry about this. They're going to pull portions of it out, and they're going to try to fit their own little narrative. Both sides are going to do it. You all know it. You're all going to feed upon it. Let's just get the dadgum bill out. Let's vote it out. And the Democrats oppose me on it. And it's stupid. It's all about politics. It's not about taking care of young ladies who got abused, and we should take care of them. But there's a process in place. The Democrats have had it for 4 years and didn't do a dadgum thing. And you know, if Trump was in that thing, Biden, the rest of them, Kamala Harris, I mean, he's the Antichrist to them. They would have already had it out. What you got?
All right. Think about how much money, time, and effort they used to try to convince you that Donald Trump was in bed with Vladimir Putin and Russia. Well, think about what they're trying to do now. They're trying to associate him with being in bed with a child. These guys are disgusting. It's just gross to me. Now, earlier today, Alex Acosta, the district attorney that originally arrested and charged Jeffrey Epstein, down in Florida put out a statement. He said in this statement that Donald Trump had nothing to do with this. Look at this. Alex Acosta cleared Donald Trump of wrongdoing in the Epstein case, according to Politico, right? So according to Politico, he had nothing to do with this. According to Alex Acosta, he had nothing to do with this. They are literally grasping at straws, and I hope that none of you guys are falling for this. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, says he's not involved. David Schoen is not involved. Alex Acosta is not involved. But you know what? Alex Jones, I think, does the best job of summing this up. And I'm just going to go ahead and play that for you now.
Should I even defend Trump on this? I'm asking myself that right now. Because he's not involved with these underage girls. Days of evidence to even cover. And the new stuff they brought out, that's the top story everywhere. Oh, God, he's caught red-handed. And you read it, and I already know the backstory. It's exculpatory. It makes Trump look good. Because it's what happened. And they would have already used this stuff on him if they had it. So it's an interesting story. It shows how the corporate media lies and spins. I think we already know they do that. Should I even do this? Should I show all the different lawyers for the victims saying they never saw Trump? Should I show how they're spinning what really happened? Because Trump, with Ratcliffe, for Israel and the CIA, not just Mossad, are covering it up for national security because of how many big corporate leaders are involved, and it's not Trump. So I've said it. I'm not holding my nose on Trump. He's in there. He's way better than Kamala, but I'm going to cover this stuff. His administration is covering up the intel connections and the head of Harvard and all these other hedge fund people, most of them Democrats, almost all of them, because Trump has been convinced it's too damaging to bring out. And then there's some back leverage on the bad guys like the King of England and his brother to make them play ball. Well, it don't look like they're playing ball. Doesn't look like your blackmail worked too good because it's being used on you. And that's why Trump's so pissed, which I said that's one of the things he might do is either brings it all out, damn the torpedoes go straight at him, justice be done by the heavens fall. That's what I'd do. Or he tries to manage it because, you know, he didn't want to bring down the whole country. Well, the cover-up is what's going to bring down the country. So I already war-gamed this. I hit it hole in one. And I guess I'll just go through it quickly. And maybe I'll do a longer report because I did so much preparation for this. It's hard to just kind of skim over it, which still my skimming over it will be the deepest dive anybody does on it, which is, again, super frustrating because I see all these idiots that don't know anything. And I'm not saying that from pleasure. I'm like, why do I know so much more than everybody? I have a really good memory. That's why. And this is what I do. Other people just see a trend, jump on it, kind of parrot it. They don't know what they're talking about. They're in mile wide and inch deep. They're all hat and no cattle. So it's on record that Epstein posted at least 2 teenage servers, waitresses, ice cream scoopers, you know, just people running food vending tables, you know, buffets out of Mar-a-Lago. Trump got mad. Epstein kept doing it. Trump's wife got pissed. Trump's staff came to him. He kicked Epstein out of the club. This has been known for 15, 16, 17 years. I got all the articles, all the admissions, okay? Yeah, he knew Epstein. They did real estate stuff twice on record. It's in the local news. Epstein and Trump went and looked at properties, and they fought over who could buy this apartment complex or this house. So they had this falling out over him scooping girls out of the Mar-a-Lago, and they had this falling out over real estate deals, fighting with each other over houses, because that's what Trump really does. He's obsessed with not baseball cards, pieces of property. And boy, was he right back then to be buying it all up. He went and bought Mar-a-Lago 40-something years ago, and it was dead. Now it's the hottest real estate in the world, that whole area. So they're like, oh, and so the emails are like, oh, he was with Epstein. And you go look, it's a house they were buying or whatever, you know. So, that Trump was fighting him to get. So Trump came out and said Democrats were trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Now, see, you just say the Jeffrey Epstein's not a hoax. You mean the hoax that you're involved. See, he never does the subtlety because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown. And so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall in the trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent annex of viciously closing our country. All true. While at the same time, putting many at risk of plane crashes, you name it. And they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republicans involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing mass damage caused by the Democrats. It should say, trying to connect me to Epstein, a very real case, is a hoax. But he did it again, folks. That's because he's not stupid. The CIA has gotten him to agree to cover it up. And that's wrong. Now, on the chain of guilt, he's down at the bottom now. But he wasn't involved before. Now he's in the compendium, and it's a big strike for me on Trump. I get he's the president, has a lot of big decisions. But I, in my own life, have had to make decisions where I don't compromise on what's right and wrong. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Jeffrey Epstein alleged in emails that Trump knew of his conduct. Well, it turns out we have the emails now, and this is the best they had. They say in a couple days, a week, they're going to release it all. But the first thing they release is Epstein talking to the guy writing an anti-Trump book, Wolf. And it's, yeah, Trump was really mad. I was getting girls out of his club, and his wife was mad. Everybody else was mad at me. And so he dropped a dime on me. That's what the emails say. I'll show them to you. But when you read Drudge Report or watch CNN, it's, Epstein emails claim Trump knew about the girls, spent hours with the victim. Well, yeah, they worked at Mar-a-Lago, and the victim said Trump never did anything to him, and the other victims said that, and out of the hundreds, only 2 were ever at Mar-a-Lago. But you read these headlines, you think he's totally guilty. And then here are the emails. And here's the people spinning it. So basically, Michael Wolff knew that Trump was a pedophile. That's not been said here, but see, that's the left. The whole time was helping Jeffrey Epstein strategize how to capitalize on it, which means Michael Wolff is just as guilty as the rest of them. Then you read this, he's talking to Epstein, and he's like, no, Trump wasn't involved. No, Trump knew I was scooping girls out. That's why he came after me. But he knew. Okay. All right. We already know this. Read Jeffrey Epstein's newly released emails about Trump. So they're acting like this is this huge deal. But when you read into the articles and you read the actual quotes of people, they're all saying Trump's completely innocent because they don't want to get sued and they know it's not true. But the headline, look, did Donald Trump inform on Jeffrey Epstein? This is from years ago. And you got Wolf saying it, you got Epstein saying it. That's when they had the falling out. Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for hitting on a girl. That's 2020. And you can read the lawyers and the women and all of them saying, no, they were never alone with Trump. But it doesn't matter because the headline says that, Trump is basically screwing kids. Republicans face Jeffrey Epstein reckoning as end of shutdown looms. And now it's out, and they release the best thing they've got, and it's nothing. I'm going to come back with some key clips and more on this. But I just showed you all the exhibits. Go read it for yourself. Here's Brett Edwards, one of the main attorneys for Epstein abuse survivors, including Giuffre and others, saying, no, only Trump over a decade ago helped them when nobody else would. It was Trump originally blew the whistle.
All right, listen to this. This is really powerful. So this is the lawyer of the Epstein victims, not Epstein's lawyer, of the victims. And he's going to say, Trump was helping us to take down Jeffrey Epstein. These emails that have put out, they don't implicate him in any way. As Alex Jones just said, They're literally hoping that you will only read the headline, associate Trump with being a pervert, and you will move on with your life. But what these emails actually show is that Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff were game planning how to blackmail him with material that he would maybe want to cover up. But he doesn't want to cover it up because he knows he's innocent, and that Epstein was most likely some kind of intelligence asset. All right, listen to what the lawyer had to say.
Which makes it even more sick now that he's the one calling all the hoax and saying shut it down, because the deals have been made behind the scenes with the deep state, I believe. But it is Trump that banned him from Mar-a-Lago. So that's just the reality. Here's a clip.
One more question on that document, and this goes to the more salacious rumors, but I would like you to just, whatever you can say on it. Obviously, our current president has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those, Katie Johnson and maybe other victims who accuse Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not a court of law here right now, but are those claims of though that case was dropped, it was dropped before it went to court. In your opinion as a lawyer and your experience, is there anything you can say as to the validity of those claims, or whether or not there will be any more about that?
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that. Yeah. I definitely heard that. I don't know that it was Trump himself as opposed to a manager there.
Trump's club, so
yeah,
people credit him.
I've heard the rumor that Epstein was kicked out of there for allegedly trying to pick up somebody's daughter or something like that. But I think I did chase that down as far as I could, and never was able to confirm it. But I heard it.
And Epstein told Wolff in the book, no, Trump kicked me out. Trump knew, and he kicked me out. But they just tell you Trump knew. See, that's that word game where they cut off the full meaning of it. There were a lot of fine people in Virginia at the rally, but not the KKK. They weren't fine people. Translated, Charlottesville, KKK are very fine people, Donald Trump. That's how they operate.
All right. I know that was a little bit long, but I think Alex Jones did such a great job right there, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. This is what Trump needs to do, right? He needs to say, Jeffrey Epstein was a pervert, crazy person, and he's dead, and anybody that needs information on him, you should have it. I am not associated with it. What the Democrats are doing to attach me to him, that is the hoax. Stop saying Jeffrey Epstein is a hoax, right? But as you heard right there, 16 years ago, 6 years before he even thought about running for president, I sent out a lot of subpoenas, and the only one helping me was Donald Trump. And yes, he kicked him out of the club. That goes right back to these very emails. All right, I hope this was helpful to you guys. The Democrats, they redacted that. They're using headline tactics to try to smear Donald Trump. It wouldn't shock me if we start seeing a lot of lawsuits of defamation popping up. All right, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.